yoga and a bar class at Fusion, and I have to use them up. They were closed down for a long time, so I'm using them up. Let me get rid of that.
Sure.
Anyway, so I just realized, you know, I have to use these by August. So I'm taking these classes, but they just went virtual. They don't send me the link half the time. It's like they don't use a microphone. So the teacher is like on the other side of the room and it's garbled, and then she plays music and she has she's a wonderful teacher too, but she's got a heavy Russian accent. So between the garbled Zoom and she's across the room, I can't hear what she's cueing me to do half the time. But you guys have got such a handle on this. And I'm not doing it to be bitchy towards them, because I'm sure they're doing the best they can. And I do okay with it. But you guys have got it knocked. I mean, you send reminders out, like a million of them. So if you miss the class, it's your own damn fault, because
that's kind of what I feel. That's why it was like we mute people when they come in. So if they want to come late, all the power to them.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, you know, you are so much more organized, and you're so young. Like, they have been established. I don't know for how long, because like I said, I'm new here, but you know.
I'm pretty sure they're 7 or 8 years old, maybe even more than that.
Okay, but I know they've been around longer than you have been. But, you know, you guys are so organized, and you have like everything, you know, it works like clockwork. And they didn't even have virtual classes. And the heck of it was, I didn't even know they had it. They sent me an email, said that the studio was open again. And I thought, well, I'm not going. And they didn't even say that there was virtual classes. I only found out because I logged on to see how many classes I had left. And I had like 15 classes left for my package in December. And I thought, well, I should use them, you know, but and then I thought, well, I'm not going to the studio. I didn't even know that they had virtual classes. And sometime, like just a couple weeks ago, they kicked in the virtual classes, but they didn't email me to tell me nothing.
Well, it all works out.
Well, yeah, but very important communication.
Well, thank you for that feedback, and I hope you get to utilize all of your classes. It seems like 15 in a couple months might be challenging, but I hope you can do it.
I don't even care, but just as long as
I can tell you.
You know, I don't want to waste them all together, but you know, it was just funny how there's such a difference in studios. You know, it was like night and day, and you know, maybe there's working on it, but.
Well, thank you. Well, I appreciate the feedback, and yeah, thank you for that. Let's get moving. There's only a few of us here together. We got a small class, but it's perfect. A little intimate class.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me you want to shift back just a little bit, just so we have enough room and I can play around a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. How's your body feeling today? Okay. So today's class, we're going to put some deliberate attention in our legs and our hamstrings and stretching out our legs. But we're also going to get some blood pumping in our shoulders and our neck. So let's start out with our shoulders and our neck. So before anything, I'm Matthew Hamburger, and this is a posture police class. So knowing that everyone here has been to a class, I'm still going to go through the 3 P's. So there's 3 posture police P's. Pain is the first one. If you ever feel pain while doing any of these exercises, then I want you to respect your limit and don't push through the pain. But let's actually start out shoulder width apart, and let's just do a little Tai Chi twist to start. We're doing this more to get our blood pumping, to get the kinks out. And for today's sake, let's play around both with lifting our foot up as we twist, and then let's also play around with keeping our feet on the ground. It's a little bit different. You feel more of that twist in the upper body, the torso. And then let's actually play around and swing our shoulders and our arms a little bit more. Make it like it's more momentum in there. Excellent. And what I want you to do right now is keep your feet planted on the ground and notice if you're locking your knees. I know Joanne mentioned locking your knees earlier.
No.
So notice if you're locking those knees. All right. So let's move into, if you were locking the knees, what happens in class when we're doing stuff is pretty much a reflection of how we live life, whether we're aware of it or not. And locking our knees is not like the worst thing in the world by any means, but unless we're leaning over and leaning forward, like doing work, standing, whether it's cleaning or cooking or something like that, there's virtually, that's the only time that it's really good to lock our knees. Any other time, it's really a sign of tight muscles and muscular imbalances. Let's lift our knees high, and let's focus on the second P, which is perception. And really, that's the most powerful one in a class because we get to gain that greater awareness. So notice which side we're more stable on. Do you feel like you have more balance on one side than the other? Yeah, definitely. We all do. And now let's suck our belly button in and go a little bit higher. Let's challenge ourselves. Or even if you throw your balance off a little, challenge yourself to go a little higher. This is like a super important movement just to get our hips moving. And let's actually change things up. Let's actually challenge our balance even more and hug our knees into our chest while standing. You can only go so far. We got to go to a limit, but we want to just get that little bit of a pull in there. We're going to do a lot of leg stretches today and getting some hip movements as well. So when we tie the perception and the pain together, what we want to do is we want to feel the difference between pain and then ache, soreness, stretch, tightness, cramping. And oftentimes doing this, you'll feel that little bit of that pull or that pinch in the hip, in the groin. Do you guys feel that at all? A tiny bit? Yeah, that's exactly where you feel it. I get that too. So it's sometimes it's hard to even feel it. And when you do it, you might feel it, but awesome. Now let's just move into a hip wiggle. So the good sensations, again, to remind you, it's ache, soreness. For this one, you'll feel that stretch. And then maybe you'll feel that tightness. So let's keep our knees a little bit more bent as we do this one to feel that stretch in the hip. You get it oftentimes right around in here, and then you feel the difference. If you hold it and you change the angle of your body, you might get it a little bit in here and maybe in the back. It's all really normal. All these muscles work together. Excellent stuff. So let's just, to get the blood pumping through our whole body, let's do a set of monkey flies. So we're going to put the back of our hands together, feet shoulder width apart, knees bent, butt back, and chest up a little bit. Maybe you'll feel that subtle, tiny little ache in the lower back. Rotate around as we squeeze our shoulder blades together. So if anyone's catching themselves looking down as you do it, try to look straight ahead. It takes a little bit of deliberate intention because when the muscles are tight in here, as we go back, our head naturally pulls down. So it creates a little bit of a tug of war that's super common. It's actually typical. So if you want to try it, why don't you try looking up a little bit, or maybe even lifting your chin up a little bit, and you might feel more of a pull as you do this. So let's squeeze our shoulder blades together for 3, 2, 1. And let's just sniff it out. So as a reminder, the sniff teaches us to physically let go. So we lift our shoulder blades all the way up, and then we just release. And then we sync up our breathing like a sniff and then we just fully let go. And now from this, notice if you are bending your knees or if you're locking them. It's actually a really good sign that you lock your knees, because that means your body's holding yourself up well. It's just not necessarily good for our legs. Let's do 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So we're going to grab our chair now. And we're going right into some hamstring stretches. So let's begin a couple feet away from the chair. Behind it, we want to lean on the chair. Lift our right foot up, cross it over on top of over the left. So how we want to look is we want to have basically our feet crossed just like that. Let's bend our knees, stick our butt back. We want to try to keep our feet planted well on the floor. Sometimes part of your foot will come up, but that's okay. But bend your knees a little bit, stick your butt out a lot, lean forward, and lift your chest up. And if you can bring your elbows in a little bit, sometimes that makes it a little less strenuous on the shoulders. And now the third P comes into play. Let's remember to breathe. The third P is prana. So on a stretch like this, we really tend to hold our breath. So let's take a deep breath in, and let's stick our butt out a little bit further. Maybe even lift your chest up a little bit more. Make sure your knees do stay bent. Sometimes we lock our knees when we do these. And another big, deep breath in. Sink a little deeper, maybe stick the butt out a little more. And let's enjoy this for 3, 2, 1. Let's slowly come up. Notice where you were feeling it. You definitely should have felt it in here, but sometimes we end up feeling it in the calf a little bit, sometimes in the lower back. It's all connected. So it's not abnormal to feel it in any of those other places, but it is a hamstring stretch, which is in the back of our thigh. So we're going to switch to the other side. Lift the left foot up, cross it over the right, bend our knees slightly, stick our butt out a lot, lean forward, and lift our chest up. Take a deep breath in. Notice if you were breathing before I said that. And the awareness is truly where the growth happens. So whereas in yoga, a lot of times the awareness comes from the breath activating the body. What we're doing here is we're trying to activate the body through deliberate stretches and exercises and support it with breathing. So another deep breath in. Let's bend our knees a little bit more, stick our butt out, lift our chest up. And notice how this side feels different. Yeah, so last week, a vacuum cleaner fell on my left big toe. And I've been walking funny ever since. And this is the first day that I'm feeling the different muscle patterns. So there's a lot of things that can throw off our body. Sometimes your legs can get tight from getting a new pair of shoes. So let's bend our knees, stick our butt back one more time, lift our chest up, and let's enjoy this for 3, 2, 1. Awesome stuff. So let's go into some knee highs again. and really come down slowly. You might already notice that it's a little bit changing already. I know some people argue saying that our hamstrings are the strongest muscle in our body. I don't know what actually our strongest muscle in the body is, but I know if it's arguably our hamstrings, we need to focus on them. And they're also a common place that imbalances occur. Our hamstrings tend to take over our glutes when we sit too much, stand too much, we do anything too much, especially driving. Let's grab our corrective cane or tall chair if you have one. And you're welcome to go right next to the chair. Let's hold it with our left hand. Lifting our left knee as high as possible, keeping the knee bent as you kick back. Excellent stuff. So we really want to focus on the knee coming up, bend the knee as we go back, and activate our glute. So it's super normal to feel a bit of an ache in the lower back as you kick down and reach as far back as you can go. It's very normal to lose our balance a little bit, especially if we're thinking about something else. That's usually the time that we lose our balance the most, when we're thinking about something. And let's do these slow today. And notice if you're breathing regularly and smoothly, or if you're breathing when you need to breathe, like you're waiting, almost like you're holding your breath until your body forces you to breathe. Were you thinking? Okay. Let's do 3 more here. 3, 2, 1. Let's just do a little hip wiggle. No one ever said no to a hip wiggle. Excellent. Switching sides. Lifting our right knee as high as possible, keeping the knee bent as we kick back. Notice how this side feels different. Maybe you feel a little bit more of like a torque or twist in the hips. That's normal. Maybe you feel like you can't kick back as far, especially after doing the hamstring stretch and then doing this. Sometimes you notice if one hamstring really is tighter than the other. So all of those ways you can become more aware. And we're doing a really good job of keeping them slow. Perfect. Notice if you really feel like you want to lean forward a little more on one side versus the other. And let's really keep the knee bent as we kick back to activate our glute. We're going to do 5 more here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. We're going to grab our chair again. But this time we're going to do more. We're going to do a quad stretch. So this one sometimes is challenging, and it's perfectly fine to lean onto your chair, especially we want to almost like bend over, lean over a little bit. So let's pick our left side to start with. We're going to grab our ankle. Hold on to our chair. You can always use a table, but you want something sturdy. You don't want a corrective cane or a stick for this one. And notice if you feel any tightness just from this. You might feel a stretch already, and notice if you're breathing or if you're holding your breath. So this is like stage 1 of this. Now let's bend our right knee a little bit, lift our chest up, and you might start to feel more of a stretch. Let's remember to breathe and just breathe. If you're holding your breath, you will get a posture citation in the mail. And now let's just organically, how our body is telling us to do it, but let's pull up and challenge our leg, the stretch a little further. You should feel it. Sometimes you feel it in the hip, but you definitely are going to feel it in the leg. And Joanne, I challenge you to lift your chest up even more. You probably feel that. It looks like you're feeling that like crazy. Remember to breathe. And now let's just relax a little. Let's still hold on, but just relax. We're going to just tweak a little bit. And all right, let's go back to it. Let's lift up a little. Let's bring the arm back. And now kick the leg into the arm instead of pull harder with the arm. So kick a little further back. And now remember to breathe still. Keep your right knee bent as you stabilize. And let's enjoy this for 3, 2, 1. And slowly release. Yeah, we can do a little hip wiggle. Let's do we're going to do some squats to see if we feel uneven. And then we'll do squats when we do it the other side. So let's just take one step back. Open your feet shoulder width apart. Let's put our hands right around face, eye, nose, ear level. It's all around the same. Keeping our elbows in a little bit. So maybe lift your hands up a little bit higher and elbows in. Now stick our butt back. You're welcome actually to lift your toes up. That surprisingly helps you get further back, and then squeeze your butt as you come up. So for you, try to keep your chest up a little more. Don't go as far down. You don't have to go as far down, but try to go further back. And then squeeze your butt as you come up. Awesome. Excellent. I actually think another tweak would be if you put your hands here and you tried to almost like lift your chest up as you do it. So butt back and lift your chest up. Now squeeze your butt as you come up. We're going to do 3 more here. 3, 2, 1. Excellent stuff. Little hip wiggle. Oh, that's more of a dance than a hip wiggle. All right. So now let's work on that right leg. Now that you felt that, sometimes you should notice a difference between both of these sides also. So let's grab onto our leg again. Oftentimes our right side, based on just like societal norms, tends to be a little bit tighter. But then again, you can be tight on either side. So let's just start by pulling back a little bit delicately. Remember to breathe. Make sure that our left knee has a slight bend in it, and you're welcome to lift your chest up. And notice if you're tighter and you feel the stretch more, or if you're less tight than you expected. Awesome. And now let's organically just pull a little bit more. You're welcome to lift the chest up a little more. But it's almost like we're just doing what our body is feeling to try to get a little further. And let's remember to breathe, and then we'll release. And we'll hold on. We want to keep the hold, so I said release, but I kind of lied to you. Excellent. Now let's back to it. Really pull the shoulder up, pull the arm close in, get that bit of a stretch, lift the chest up, deep breath in, and now kick the foot into the hand. I feel this a lot on my standing leg. Like it's taking me a lot to stabilize, but I also let go of the chair. You're welcome to try that. And then if you want to keep it even, you can go to the other side. But this is a really good training for Warrior 3. And let's release. And just let's do a little hip wiggle. And let's do the other side if you wanted to do the releasing of it, just so you feel even from how far you push yourself. I don't want you to feel even or feel uneven. And let's release and play around. This is some good balance experimenting. The chair's there for a reason. We're perfect. Amazing, Joanne. You're flying. All righty. That was amazing. That was gangsta. That was great. So we're going to do another set of squats. The thing we're going to do different this time is we're going to open the feet up again, shoulder width apart, maybe a touch wider. But as we go, I'm going to step back so the frame of the camera can see me a bit better. As we go down, I want us to open our knees out a little bit. We're going to challenge a different hip movement. It might be challenging for some of us, and you might actually get a bit of a stretch while we do the squat. It's really cool. So we're going to stick our butt out. You're welcome to lift your toes up again, but let's push our knees out. Squeeze your butt as you come up. And you don't need to do it with your hands. You can actually just do it with your leg muscles, and you'll feel it in the hips after we get that little bit of a workout. Knees out, squeeze your butt as you come up. You got it, Joanne. That's great. You're doing really good. Squeeze your butt. Your legs are getting, I see it. They're doing good. You're even keeping your chest up more. You're doing awesome. And for 3 more, let's squeeze our butt 20,000 times harder. It's physically impossible, but we're going to do the best we can. Excellent stuff. Let's do a little Tai Chi twist. We just worked our legs out a little bit. We're going to start going into the hips a bit more, and then we're going to come back to the legs some more. But I want to keep that blood pumping through the shoulders. How are your shoulders feeling, Joanne? Good? Yeah, a lot of times the circulation is all that you need, right? It's surprising. It's like just movement and blood flow is all you need, because you're actually really managing your tension so much better. And I think you're becoming aware of it, which is why you feel it more. I think you're becoming more in tune. So we're going to grab a seat on the chair. We want to come away from the back of our chair. And let's actually start off with doing let's put our hands like this, and we're just going to do some twisting. It's like the Tai Chi twist set us up is like the warm-up, and then this is more of the spinal twist. So notice if you can go further one direction versus the other. I personally have a little bit more rotation to the right than the left. Let me see if I can notice it with you, Joanne. You can do better to the left? Try to challenge yourself a little further. Really push it. You can go better to the left. At least visibly. Excellent. From here, we're going to do a little, whereas we have the hip wiggles when we're standing up, I call this the booty wiggles, where we're just wiggling from side to side. It's actually doing more than we think, because it lifts our hip up as we twist from side to side. And let's take a little page out of a yoga playbook and inhale, lift our arms all the way up. arch your back just a little bit. Drop your left arm. Bend your right elbow and exhale as we reach all the way across, feeling the stretch in the side of our body. And let's deliberately push our right hip down to the chair. Maybe you'll feel a little bit more of a stretch. And Michelle, lift your chest up. And if you have it in you to look up without bothering your neck, then do it. If you feel a little bit of a tightness, that's okay. If you feel a little bit of a pull, it's okay, but you don't want that pinching for this one. So another deep breath in and reach that right arm a little bit further. Maybe the elbow comes a little bit more over our head. You'll feel that stretch in the side of the body, in the deep, weird part where our shoulder and our back meets. And let's inhale and come all the way to rise. Arch back a little, look up a little bit. Notice where you're feeling the pull. Maybe you feel like your muscles in the front, your abs are like getting so stretched that they want to pull forward, like it's like a Band-Aid. That's super normal when we lean back in a chair. Let's drop our right arm and bend our left elbow. Look up if you can without bothering your neck. Lift your chest up and really pull that left hand all the way across. Feeling that stretch in the side of the body. And inhale, and let's lift our chest up a little more, and then exhale and reach a little bit further across. If you put your left hip down, you might feel a deeper stretch in the hip. And notice if you feel more of the stretch in the hip, where the shoulder and the back meet, or is it more in the ribs? All very normal. Inhale, come to rise. And let's do our little twist again. Excellent. Good stuff. So we're going to do our UPS, our very standard deep hip stretch that we cross our leg and lift it up. So I want you to just pick the side that feels right to you, and we're going to reflect upon it. I like how you switch sides. You just switched sides, Joanne. You were going to go for one side, then you went with the other. I hope you have good reasoning for it, and I'm sure you do. So make sure that we're away from the back of our chair. Let's actually come a little closer to the edge of our seat than we normally would. With this form, let's really make sure that our knee is right in front of our hip, and then the ankle is just under the knee. I think you guys are both doing good with this. And we want to do a respectful stretch. So we want to push down on our thigh, not our knee or our shin, and just lift your chest up as you try to straighten your arms a little. We all start with a different level of tightness. And remember to breathe. And notice if you think this side that you're doing is tighter or you feel the stretch more, because we're going to deliberately compare it to the other side. Deep breath in, lift our chest up, maybe lean back a touch as you continue to push the knee down, or the leg down, I should say. And let's put our fingers on our sternum, lift our chest up, try to straighten our spine as we continue to push down with our leg and our hip muscles. So it's like you can prepare for it. You can kind of go back and forth, but we want to hold it down. So this is a real big activation. So now from there, hold with your leg and your hip muscles, hold your knee down. So it's like, this is my normal position, and then when I'm working it, I go like that. You see the difference? There you go. It's tough. It's not about going very far. It's about strengthening the muscles from our own resistance, because we all have a level of tightness. Just working it will strengthen these muscles. Deep breath in, lift our chest up, and you're doing great. Let's actually, before we go deep into it, let's put our forearm on our knee, on our thigh, and lean forward a little bit. Sometimes we get a little bit deeper. And from here, let's now push that knee down with the leg and hip muscles. So it's like we're going here. Good. I see it. It's not easy. And now let's reach down. And we want to continue, if we can, to keep our knee down, but we want to lean forward but lift our chest up. So it's like our belly comes down, but our chest comes up. It's super normal to feel this all around here. You might feel it in the groin. You might actually feel it in the hamstring, but after we did that intense hamstring stretch, I hope you don't. And it's very normal to feel it in the lower back. Deep breath in, hips back, chest up, belly down. I know it's a weird one to say chest up and belly down because it's like it puts us in a tug of war position. And that's what a lot of these stretch exercises do to us. And notice if you've been holding your breath while I haven't been reminding you to breathe. Yeah, and feel free to breathe however you choose. In the nose, out the nose, in the nose, out the mouth, or less traditionally, in the mouth, out the mouth. And I don't even think, and some people I'm sure theoretically do in the mouth, out the nose, but that's a little backwards. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And let's think a little deeper. And we'll enjoy this, and let's smile for 3, 2, 1. And let's lean into the back of our chair. And think of this as like the posture police version of child's pose. It's like kind of the resting pose. We get to really hug our knee into our chest, safely go as deep into the stretch in here, into our hip, butt, leg as we can. And I really like to say, hug the knee into our chest, not our chest into our knee. So you really use that back of the chair. And notice if you've been holding your breath or breathing. One big deep breath in. And let's actually roll out our ankles. We're going to continue to stay here longer. So when I say roll out the ankles, really go big, like challenge. Really flex your toes in, go all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and then when you're going down, you point the toes too. So we really want to get, maybe you feel that stretch in the foot a little bit. Maybe you feel it in the ankle. And let's make sure to go in the other direction. And notice which direction is a little stickier. One side oftentimes sticks more than the other. And we'll enjoy this for 3, 2, 1. Let's actually stand up and do a little hip wiggle before we go back down. Notice how that left leg compared to the right leg. Notice if you feel a big difference in the hips. Maybe you feel a big difference in the ankles because we only stretched out one of those ankles like that. And now let's grab a seat again. We're working on the other side. Excellent. So as a reminder, we really want to make sure that our knee is right in front of our hip, and then also our knee is right on top of our ankle. We're giving ourselves a respectful stretch by pushing into our thigh down, not our knee, not our shin. And notice which side. I know, Joanne, you deliberately chose which side to do. So I'm assuming this is the less tight side. Am I right? Yeah, you were very deliberate about that. How about you? How are you feeling, Michelle? Is this the tighter or the you're not sure? As we go deeper, maybe you'll notice which side feels tighter to you. And I welcome you to come a little bit closer to the edge of your seat so we can make sure we're similar and to even on both sides. So give ourselves a push down on the thigh, not the knee, and lift our chest up. So almost like we're straightening our knee or straightening our arms. And let's prepare by inhaling, putting our fingers on our sternum, lifting our chest up, and pushing the knee down with our leg and our hip muscles. Looks like you have better activation with this leg. And let's really lean back just for a moment as we push down. Feel all of that activation in the leg and the hip. And let's drop our forearm onto our leg. Let's sink our body into it. Notice if you feel any changes. And take a deep breath in, and let's lean over a little more. Maybe you can get a little bit deeper into it. Maybe you're as far as you can go. And remember to respect your limit, and if you ever feel pain, respect it. So let's drop both of our arms on our shin. And let's bring our belly down, lift our chest up. And we really want to hinge from the hips. That's one of the main goals, is hinging at the hips. So we want to keep our spine, there's no way to keep our spine perfectly straight. It's unrealistic. But we want to keep our spine as reasonably straight as possible. So that's why we want to bend our belly down or bring our belly down and lift our chest up. That forces our spine to be a little straighter. Notice if you're breathing, and let's breathe. Let's take a big, deep breath here. And let's smile as we go deeper into this. For the last 4, 3, 2, 1. Notice if you felt it different from one side to the other. I felt them in different places. How about you, Joanne? Did you notice a difference? Or you're realizing you're just feeling good with it. You're pushing yourself. I see it. You do a good job. You play that tug of war against yourself. Do you feel like you're playing that tug of war? And remember to bring your knee into your chest, not your chest into your knee. And leaning on the back of your chair is perfectly normal. And now let's give ourselves the ankle twist. And remember to go as far as we can. That's good. That's great. That's beautiful. You probably sprained your ankle years ago. It's amazing. We got some snack crackle pops going on, and I think it's beautiful. We want to work that stuff out. And remember to go in the other direction. If you were a little closer to me, you'd be able to hear that this ankle is doing my snap, crackle, pop. Yours is a little bit louder. We'd be able to hear it from across the yoga room. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. It needs to be worked out. And one more little hug from our knee into our chest. Deep breath in. And let's release. Coming up to stand. Noticing how your lower back feels from this, because these muscles really do connect with our lower back. As we do some hip wiggles, maybe you'll notice that you feel some more pulling or more tightness in your lower back. You feeling it, Joanne? A little bit? It's all good. This is how we work through our muscular imbalances. We're doing all these counterbalancing exercises, and it's really challenging to become aware. Sometimes we don't realize that we've ignored our body for forever. So we're going to do another hamstring or another quad stretch, then another hamstring stretch, and then we're going to connect them a little bit with some functional movement. So we're going to pick one of our sides. I want you to listen to your body and pick a side. And now, before we even do it, I want you to notice if you picked the side that was easier or harder. And let's just pull back. Lift our chest up. Make sure that your standing knee is slightly bent. And now kick the foot or the ankle or the leg into the hand. And actually, let's try to square our hips a little bit. That changes things. So you're almost pulling your back hip forward, or your back hip forward and your front hip back. It's a weird one when we're standing on one leg to think of squaring your hips, but it does get other muscles moving. Joanne, that is amazing. Want to go for another try? I believe in you. You have it there if you ever need to fall down. That was amazing. Incredible. Woo! All right. So let's switch to the other side. You're finding some balance in there. All right. And notice if this side feels tighter or if this side feels looser. Sometimes we're tight everywhere, so nothing feels loose. I know, Michelle, it's really hard to notice. Not yet. But you're here because you want to get in touch with your body. I could tell you do. This is all stuff that you're working towards. I see it. So let's make sure we're bending our standing knee, really kicking back and lifting our chest up. Now let's try to square our hips up. So bringing your front hip back, your back hip forward, and it's challenging. So when we're holding on, it's really more of a stretch. When we're lifting, it becomes really more of a balance and stability exercise. You did great. Deep breath in and enjoy this for 3, 2. You're doing great. Yes, you're doing it. You can't. We're having people in the studio saying I can't do it while they're doing it. That's exactly how it goes. You're doing phenomenal. All right. So let's just lift our knees high. Notice if there's a big difference with this. Maybe with all the stretches, our knees might feel a little heavier. Our legs might feel a little heavier now. And let's lift them all the way up and then down really slowly. You might even, if you actually put your hands on your belly or your abs, you might even feel some of that activation. You might feel it more if you go down to where your hips are, and you'll feel that muscle activation. And then as you go slowly down, you'll feel that tightening take place. You're doing great. And if you suck your belly button in, both up and down, you're definitely going to feel some tightening. And 2 more on each side. Excellent. So we're going to do one more hamstring stretch now. So this is where we grab onto the back of the chair again, a couple feet behind, 2 or 3 feet behind. And again, I want you to listen to your body. So pick a side. We're going to do both sides. So pick one side and cross the foot, the opposite foot over, bending our knees maybe a little bit more now. You might be able to bend your knees a little bit more, but really stick your butt out. So sticking your butt out is way more a main focus of this movement. Then we're going to lean forward and lean down as we lift our chest up. So Michelle, try to bring your elbows in a little bit. Yeah, that's perfect. If you want to put your arms here, that's good. You might even feel a stretch in here a little. Notice if you're breathing or holding your breath. Deep breath in. And hips back a little more, knees bend a little more, chest up a little more. Awesome stuff. We're going to enjoy this and smile, maybe going a notch deeper, and you define what a notch is for 3, 2, 1. Slowly come up. Joanne, we're game to sniff it out. Let's sniff it out. Your body was telling you to sniff it out, so let's all sniff it out. There's no harm in that. But notice if your knees are locked or bent. Awesome stuff. Joanne, did you feel yourself getting deeper into that stretch? Because I'm feeling, yeah, like, did you feel a difference? Good, because our hamstrings are so tight, and that's obviously speaking in generalizations. But we're going to switch to the other side now. Bending our knees, sticking our butt out. Sticking our butt out a lot, lifting our chest up, and maybe you could bend your knees a little more. And then stick your butt out a little more. Yeah, Joanne, I love your flat back. You got a flat back when you're doing this. Michelle, you have more of a flat back than the first time. That was amazing. Deep breath in. And let's stick our hips back a little more. Bend our knees a little more. Chest up a little more. And we'll have fun here with an optional smile for 3, 2, 1. And let's do a little Tai Chi twist. Let's twist it out. After all of the hip and leg stretches and mobility movements, you might feel some cracking in the lower back. Awesome. We're going to grab our corrective cane and or stick. Let's hold it in our left hand. Having it forward in front of us, maybe a couple feet in front of us, let's step our right foot right to where the stick is, so right next to it. Awesome. Focusing on our left foot now, we want to keep our toes pointing forward. We want to keep our heel on the ground. We're doing a calf stretch. And then we want to bend our knee, our left knee down to the ground while keeping the heel. And use the stick to lean back a little bit. Are you feeling that stretch in the calf? Yeah, this one can be very deliberate. And if you actually, and then we have the option, Michelle, try to lean back a little bit and then try to square your hip. So bring your front hip back and your back hip forward. And then you might feel even going deeper, bending the knee a little bit more becomes a little possible. And lean back a little more and remember to breathe. And let's stand up straight now and actually let's flex. Let's actually point our toes away, lifting our heel all the way up. And before we drop the heel down, let's bend our left knee. Then drop the heel down. You feel that? It's really deliberate into that calf and the ankle. So we're going to do one more of these, lifting our heel all the way up, standing all the way up, bending that left knee, dropping that left heel. And now let's lean back again, squaring our hips, bending our left knee, keeping the heel on the ground. The hardest part is that keeping the heel on the ground, we can't bend our knee very far. So that's actually what we're trying to experience. Deep breath in and enjoy this for 3, 2, 1. Let's just do a little hip wiggle. Notice if your calves and your ankles are feeling a little bit. Sometimes the blood flow is pumped into the leg that we worked on. All right. Switching our hands up. So we're holding on now with our right hand, having our left foot forward into like a lunge position. That left knee bends, and we're keeping our right heel on the ground and bending our right knee. And if you can, lean back a little bit. And let's square our hips. So our front hip comes back and our back hip goes forward. Just to share my little experiences, I'm really struggling keeping this heel on the ground today. So my ankle is really tight today. Deep breath in and breathe out. And let's come to lifting our heel out of this movement and then prepare by bending the knee before we drop the heel down. Leaning back, squaring our hips, and noticing the different sensations between each side. It's very normal to feel a lot regardless. We have a lot of muscles, a lot of tendons, a lot of bones in our ankles. I think we have 9 different bones in our ankles. It could be 8. I could be mixing up our wrists and our ankles. But now let's lift our heel up one more time. Bending the knee, then dropping the heel. Leaning back, squaring the hips. And deep breath in as we enjoy the last 3, 2, 1. Awesome stuff. Little hip wiggle. And let's do a little Tai Chi wiggle. A Tai Chi twist and a hip wiggle combined. You can do it in a whole, you can do whatever you want. You can get creative with this. Excellent. And let's open up into a monkey fly again. So open up our feet shoulder width apart, bending our knees, sticking our butt back of the hands together as we pull back and rotate. Awesome, Michelle. That was amazing. Squeezing our shoulder blades together. There's very little risk to squeezing our shoulder blades together harder. So let's squeeze our shoulder blades together a little bit more. And we'll do 3, 2, 1. And let's do a little Tai Chi twist and open up into some sniffs. And 3, 2, 1. And let's just stand still here. Notice how you're feeling. We've had a lot of work in our legs, a lot of stretching, a lot of deliberate muscle activation. And let's just lift one heel off the ground. Maybe notice how it feels. Lift the other. And notice if you're feeling like your legs might be, I don't know, working better, a little lighter, maybe a little stretched out. And I know there's so many things that you're going to learn to get in tune with your body. But I wanted to end this class like that. Well, almost end this class. Now we're going to do the real way of ending the class. So let's open up our feet shoulder width apart. Bend our knees, stick our butt back, lift our chest up. Keeping our knees bent, we're going to squeeze our butt forward, suck our belly button in, and squeeze our butt some more. Notice if your knees are as bent as you want them to be. And let's release. So just to turn to the side so you see exactly the angles that I'm in, we're going to stick our butt back, bend our knees, lift our chest up. Feel that subtle little ache in the lower back. As we keep our knees bent, we squeeze our butt forward. Suck our belly button in, squeeze our butt some more. Awesome, release. And the last one here, where we butt back, knees bent, chest up, squeezing our butt forward, sucking our belly button in and keeping our knees bent. Suck our belly button in some more, squeeze our butt some more. And now let's keep our butt squeezed as we walk around like this. Amazing. I walk the stairs like this. It's the hardest thing in the world. You'd be amazed how much I really do walk the stairs like this. I got my mom doing this too. It's hilarious to watch her walk around like this. How are you feeling, Joanne?
Okay. I loved it. I loved the quads. Oh, by the way, that pose up, that's dancer pose in yoga. That's why
That was it. I mixed up dancer and warrior 3. That was it. Yeah, dancer. There you go.
That's dancer pose. That's why I could do that so well.
Amazing.
That was great. I loved the quad stretch. I loved it. And I like the calf stretch too. That was really good.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a powerful one because you could be really deliberate. And with me, I love having the ability to go into like waves and stages where we can go deeper each level. It's almost like dimensions.
Yes. Really good. Real good. Thank you. It was a great class.
Thank you so much for enjoying it, and have a balanced night.
Thank you. See you soon. Thanks, Matthew.
Bye-bye.
Good night.